In this recording, we're going to fix a problem with our Gridworld setup in that we need to show Gridworld and show Eclipse where the Java documentation for all the Gridworld files are. Let's get started. The problem that we're trying to solve is that Gridworld has many classes of which we don't know what the documentation for a world or an actor world are. What I mean by that is we can search online for the Java documentation for things like the array list or the string class, but because Gridworld was built by someone else, we need to know what those classes actually do. What are the methods and properties for those classes? So we want to attach documentation for all of this, which we can do in Eclipse. And you can see the message that's popping up here is that Eclipse doesn't know where that documentation is currently. In order to fix that problem, we'll need to modify the build path for this project. Under the Libraries section of the build path for this project, the Gridworld jar that we imported doesn't have any source code or Java doc location, and this is what we're going to fix here. Fixing this is pretty easy. We'll just go to Edit and browse to where the Gridworld code folder is. And right underneath there is a Java doc folder that contains the documentation. Once we open this, we can have Eclipse double check to make sure that we've got the right folder by clicking the Validate button. By doing that, it will look to see if there's a file called index.html. This is just a web page, and it will just double check that everything looks properly. Once this is done, we should see the messages that pop up instantly change, and further we should be able to actually go and look at the Java documentation in Eclipse to see what each one of these classes can do. In this example, I'm going to look at the documentation for one of the classes referenced in our import statement. I'm going to look up the reference for the location class. The way that I prefer to do this is in the full browser view. If you're looking at the Java documentation tab down here, this icon of the world will get you there, and it will open right here in Eclipse. I'm going to double click on this to maximize it, and we'll see the documentation that looks roughly like the Java documentation online for the built-in classes in Java. So from this, we can see that the location class has the following properties. It has static integers that are for turning half left or half right, static integers for south, north, east, west, etc. A constructor that takes an int r, which is going to be an int r for row and int c for column. And then lots of other methods here like get row, toString, get direction towards another location. All of these we're going to be using over the next coming weeks.